The YNW Melly trial is heating up. YNW Bortland was arrested, and even YNW Melly released a message from jail, as Melly's message was to his father Dante, as it goes and reads, "Not having a dad made me the man I am today. It was meant to be that way. I would not change nothing about my life, not even the last 4.5 years that I spent in this dark jail. It made me a man. It's finally over though, and I knew I was not gonna get bond. I'd have to get a second mistrial, and I'm not tripping. I'll be home after this trial. God is working." To even saying, "My mom was in Lane, so she chose him over me. I forgive her. She was young. I forgive him too, but I felt like you left me for good. I was inboxing you on Facebook, messaging your phone, trying to move with you, but you ignored me. Many made it seem like no one wanted me. I was broken." As the man referred to as Benny was Melly's mother, Jamie King's ex-boyfriend when YNW Melly was younger. When Melly was younger, Benny did not hold back on YNW Melly. He then even gave his mother a decision. It's either him or it's Benny, to which Jamie King at the moment decided that it was her boyfriend Benny rather than her own son. YNW Melly had an extremely troubled childhood, as everything is now starting to come to light, as his second retrial is set to begin shortly. However, many believe that it won't, as YNW Bortland had just been arrested.
Melly's co-defendant YNW Bortland was booked into a Miami jail Monday night and is being held behind bars on an out-of-county warrant. We just confirmed the warrant is out of Broward County for witness tampering. The warrant obtained by Law&Crime Network states as follows. On or about April 10, 2023, continuing through and including July 22, 2023, Cortland Henry, aka Bortland, along with others, did unlawfully and knowingly engage in misleading conduct toward another person with the intent to cause or induce them to withhold testimony. The warrant continues the alleged witness had been summoned by the legal process to the jury trial of Jamel Dimmons, aka YNW Melly. The dates in the warrant are important. Jury selection for Melly started in mid-April, and a judge declared a mistrial on July 22nd, the same day the warrant claims Bortland allegedly tampered with the witness.
As YNW Bortland's house was raided while he was outside, rumors are beginning to spread of some sort of snitching going on against Bortland. As weirdly enough, YNW Bortland was at YNW Melly's bond hearing this week, to which Melly was obviously denied his bail.
And the second thing is YNW Bortland attended today's hearing via Zoom. You see him right there. Which a few weeks ago, the question was raised if Melly's retrial in October would include YNW Bortland. And this is making me think that it will. So we'll see what happens.
Which then raises the question of, is Melly and Bortland going to be getting tried together in this upcoming retrial, as it doesn't make much sense as to why Bortland would be at Melly's bond hearing on Zoom. The two getting tried together would be a terrible thing, explained by this lawyer.
Issue here, and you can try them together. It is to the benefit of the state to try them together. It's just more efficient. You don't have to do things again and again. Do it all at once, and also you get a better chance of having them incriminate each other during the trial. It benefits the defense to sever it. That way they can point the finger at each other and get away with it. So this is what's going on. But I don't think it should be automatically severed because the state is seeking the penalty for Melly, because it's only the penalty phase of the trial that would be different, not the guilt phase. The guilt phase is the same. They're both capital crimes. You're seeking the penalty on one, not the other, but that goes into the second part of the trial, the penalty phase, only if Melly is found guilty.
However, YNW Melly might not even make it to his trial now, as there's good chances of a case dismissal. To understand this fully, we have to dive deep into the new report that shares Melly's lawyer Benjamin is requesting the removal of Christine Bradley and the state attorney's office from the YNW Melly trial based on various Brady violations filed last week. Christine Bradley is the lead prosecutor against YNW Melly, and it reads and continues, in the motion, Benjamin shares that Christine Bradley and others are now witnesses and will have their testimony contradicted by one of their own in Michelle, who is set to testify during the retrial. This will not look good for the state attorney's office and the public eye, as on page 4, Benjamin advises that Bradley's continued counsel in the trial will violate YNW Melly's due process rights guaranteed by the 14th Amendment. And this right here is why YNW Melly is paying millions of dollars for his lawyers. This is very intense, as Melly's chances of release is now extremely high due to his rights, as explained here.
Have added Christine Bradley, the prosecutor herself, to the witness list, and 5 other attorneys from the state attorney's office who they say knew about this situation. That's 7 attorneys from the state attorney's office. Because of this, Melly's attorneys are saying keeping Christine Bradley and this state attorney's office on this case is not only a conflict of interest, it's actually a violation of Melly's right to due process, which is a part of the 14th Amendment.
As stated by Bryson Paul on Twitter, the ask is the defense is asking the judge to dismiss the indictment altogether, which would mean that YNW Melly would no longer face these double charges. If the judge grants the motion, he will be going home. Now, this is all due to the Mark Moretti vs. YNW Melly's mother situation, as explained here.
So Melly's team is saying they just found out in August, like last month, that Detective Moretti was under investigation for an incident involving use of excessive force against a potential witness. And that witness is Jamie King, aka Melly's mom. According to this motion, Detective Moretti, Jamie King, and 3 other people, including a Broward Sheriff's Office sergeant, were in a conference room when Moretti was taking Jamie's statement. At some point during taking that statement, the sergeant in the room steps out. And during that time, it's alleged that Detective Moretti executed a search warrant, which he didn't have the ability to do, and forcibly took the phone from Jamie King. And then when another sergeant came to the conference room, Detective Moretti told that sergeant to say that he was in the room the whole time when the phone was taken. From there, it's alleged that Moretti and the state attorney's office were willing to lie to cover this entire situation up.
We have to dive deep into why Jamie King first filed this complaint against Mark Moretti, as it was filed due to this being Melly's last chance of ever being released from jail. This week, Melly's bail request was denied, as the court hearing began with the judge speaking to YNW Melly's lawyers and the prosecution.
Record, please. The state of Florida versus Devins. President Lieutenant Devins is counsel. This is state attorney. Yes, so you're indicating you want me to roll this for sometime next week?
Yes, for a calendar call for Wednesday. It's available.
And at that time, just want to remind defense counsel that a trial in this courtroom, so we don't know at a time.
It should take 2 seconds.
Okay.
Thank
Keep it
you.
up for Wednesday, please.
Thank you. Thank you.
With the camera being turned off inside of the courtroom, this is when the judge would announce his bond is officially denied. Thankfully, Bryson Paul was inside of the courtroom and would report for us, Judge Murphy has officially denied bail leading into his retrial, which begins jury selection on October 9th. In an official order, Judge Murphy issued the following. After careful consideration, this court finds that the state has met its burden of demonstrating that the proof of guilt is evident and the presumption of guilt is great. The jurors' inability to reach a unanimous verdict does not alter the nation or weight of the evidence of the defendant's guilt. In other words, Judge Murphy 100% believes YNW Melly is guilty, meaning the only way Melly can now beat this case is trying to get Mark Moretti and Christine Bradley out of the case using Melly's 14th Amendment, as even when learning the information of being denied bail, YNW Melly was not bothered at all. If anything, he smiled at his mother while leaving. This is likely knowing because they had their backup plan already in motion. as Melly's mother, Jamie King, tells him to keep standing tall. She would then post on her Instagram, "Nothing will stop my faith, not even this. Bond was denied." Now, sadly, the judge really does not YNW Melly out in the free world, but it does make sense when you truly look into why YNW Melly was denied his bail. It all begins with YNW Juvie's mother telling the judge why Melly should not receive a bond out of jail until his retrial is over.
Ms. Phillips, you were the mother of Christopher Thomas?
Yes, ma'am.
And what are your thoughts or opinion on Jamel Demons receiving a bond in the of your son?
I don't think he should receive a bond, but I do know that he's innocent until proven guilty. But these are some serious accusations against him. So, and I understand he has money and don't want anything, nothing to happen to me or my family. So I don't think that he should be granted a bond at all.
Thank you, Ms. Phillips.
It's hard to hear what she said, but she would state, "I do not think he should receive a bond. I do know that he is innocent until proven guilty. However, these are serious accusations against him and he has money. I don't want anything to happen to me or my family. I do not think he should receive bond at all." To which YNW Melly's objection would be his lawyer stating that Melly has no idea where any of these witnesses live, and even if he has all of his money, why would he want any sort of revenge against these people?
I have, again, I would object to the court even considering the statements of people that even the state has no idea where they are. We have, as I brought up several times, prior to the trial, during the trial, we have attempted to subpoena those people for deposition numerous times, most of them. And there's a material witness bond as we speak on Mariah Hamilton. They don't know where she is.
As many believe this is a weak objection, but when you truly look into what these witnesses did to Jamie King during trial, you would start to think otherwise. As an example, YNW Juvie's sister reached out to YNW Melly's mother, Jamie King, on social media during trial.
What's been going on in the courtroom?
Well, Anjanette, it's been a very interesting morning. It did start off earlier with the defense bringing up an issue. Apparently, Juvie's sister posted on, I guess, one of the social media outlets, and she said that she was going to Jamie King. And so that caused a big, issue in the courtroom. It wasn't anything that we got on tape, but it did happen this morning. It was on the record, and she has a bodyguard now. So that was one of the first issues that the court dealt with this morning. And it was interesting because the judge did basically say, if you needed more security, I can get it for you. Ultimately, it was determined that the security she had, the bodyguard, was going to be enough. So
now, shout out to Reddit, because we had to do some digging to find the sister. Now, this is the sister, Ashley Monique. And let me show you the post that she had posted on Facebook, because, honey, it was quite the stir. So she posted this screenshot from Jamie King, YNW Melly's mother, and she said, "Pest control, who called about?" Now, that was in regards to a post made by Trayvon Glass on his Instagram page, where he basically said that he's not worried about anything, and if he's come him. So in a nutshell, Melly's mom is calling Trayvon Glass a, and Monique replied back and says, "A is when you do something wrong and not take responsibility and then go and set somebody up because you're scared to lay down." She goes on to say, "That's not the case here. Fetty was Juvie's friend, not Melly. He was only around because Juvie brought him." Now in the comments, somebody says she better find something safe to do. Another person replied back and says, "Very well said." Another person tagged Jamie, and somebody else said, "Come get." Now, Ashley was in the comments and says, "She even has a bodyguard, child." Another person replied and says, "Yeah, she need one because she's talking like she's 200 pounds and she ain't even pushing 100. Now, somebody else posted this and says, "She's going to need them because she in the wrong city talking." Now, I think that when Melly's defense attorneys found this, they submitted it over to the judge and basically was like, Juvie's sister's out here Melly's mom. Now, the judge did state that if Melly's mom needed security, he would issue her security, and then he found out that she had a bodyguard, and that would be sufficient enough.
As this affected YNW Melly in a huge way, making him extremely upset, as you would see him in court the next day asking her if she's okay. As the following day, Melly made his lawyers put a request in to the judge asking for Jamie King to have 24/7 security with her at all times in and around the courtroom. Thankfully, it was accepted, as even Boosie would share how bad of a situation this was for Melly's mother.
Okay, so
then I met his mama while he was in.
Oh, okay.
I met his mom while he was in, and she real, bro. You know, she real.
She's stressed out. I heard she had a...
Yeah, she real, and I reached my hand out to him, cause I'm real. Yeah, I reached out to him, bro. I met his mom, and she a good woman, bro. And when I see them mamas like that, it remind me of what my mom was going through, bro.
As I can definitely see a reason as to why YNW Melly would want some sort of revenge against these individuals if he was to be released. It would later be revealed also what evidence the judge heard and has that makes him want to keep Melly inside of jail. And it all begins with Sergeant Williams, who would reveal there is zero way this could have been a drive-by.
Assignment, which is to determine if this is a drive-by. And my determination was that this is not a drive-by. And it's based upon this picture here, which is a very good picture to describe it. All of these rounds are done. One is done at a stationary position. At a stationary position when all but one of these rounds are going in. The one round that has some movement in it, which is round site L here. The actually moving in that to create the little bit of a that you see there.
Okay, a lot of information in that answer, so let's break it down a little bit. You mentioned so I'm gonna zoom in on site F. Number, you said 17 outside the car. How many rounds were inside of the car?
3.
And can you exclude the for Mr. Williams and Mr. Thomas as coming from outside of the car?
Yes. From the driver's side back seat.
As to the shot that was Christopher Thomas, where did that emanate from?
Driver's side back seat.
No. Is it possible for there to have been 2 inside that car?
No.
Why not?
There is no time.
What made the evidence feel really real to Judge Murphy was when YNW Juvie's mother took the stand during trial, where she would confirm who was sitting where inside of the vehicle, most importantly, who was sitting in the back left seat, as Sergeant Williams guaranteed the crime must have happened from somebody that was sitting in that seat.
Can you state your name, your full legal name for the jury?
Leon Phillips.
Okay. And are you related to one of the victims in this case?
Yes, I am.
How so?
I'm his mother.
And who is that?
Christopher Thomas.
Pause it at 2:19:15. Ms. Phillips, did you see who entered into the occupants who entered into that gray Jeep?
Mm-hmm.
And is that a yes?
Yes.
Do you recognize where your son entered that gray Jeep?
Yes.
Which seat, if you can identify for the jury?
He got in the back seat on the right hand side.
Did you recognize the individual that got into the back seat on the left side, the rear driver's side?
Yes.
And who was that individual?
Jamel.
And Jamel, is that the defendant, Jamel Demons?
Yes, ma'am.
And with the judge hearing that the crime must have happened from somebody in the vehicle, and also hearing Juvie's mother revealed where YNW Melly was seated, what really sealed the deal was when he heard YNW Juvie's father reveal he believed Melly was guilty since the beginning.
From the day one, I believe that Melly was responsible for my son on October 26th when I first heard the story, because his explanation, when I finally talked to him and Cortland on a FaceTime, their response and how they was reacting, they showed no remorse. They didn't act like they was grieving, like they lost a best friend or nothing. They was, in my opinion, they was in the best spirits. They wasn't reacting to, they act like they didn't have to take a loss at all. That's how I took it. And then when I was talking to them, I still had in the back of my mind that something's not right.